Fantasy football is around the corner, and we are bringing to you today QB rankings. QBs that you should think about that aren't the top guys. And if you're with us today, thank you so much. Welcome to another episode of the BuiBros Football Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Quinn Bowie, and I cheer for the LA Chargers. Across from me, my brother Brandon.
And I cheer for your Minnesota Vikings.
Woo!
Woo! On today's episode, we're going to be doing some stuff. We're going to be looking at some quarterbacks. Quinn, why don't you explain it? Get the ball rolling.
Yeah, all right, Brandon, why don't you wave your little techie wand and swap it over here. So what we're doing today, listen, we all know who the top guys are in fantasy. Whether you play 4-point, 6-point passing touchdown, yes, variance, but we know who the top guys are. We are eliminating that. Brought to you by PFF here. We're looking at the PFF rankings for QBs in terms of fantasy this year. We're going to each choose one quarterback that you should be looking at in the ADP range or the ranking on the left there, 50 to 100 or 50 to 99. We're going to give you one at ADP higher than 100, and then we're going to give you one, especially for those larger leagues, 14-team leagues or the super flex leagues with the two QBs, a quarterback in the 150-plus range. And so, you know, I'll just start it off here, Brandon. I'm going to tell you right now, this year, I know some of these players have been successful in the past when it comes to fantasy football, when it comes to real football, but I'm looking ahead, and I'm not looking at the individual player. I'm looking at the overall offense, right? Yes, defensive considerations can be in here as well, but I'm going to look at the offense, and I'm going to make sure that I focus on the teams that are actually looking to have a good offense going forward. So 50 plus.
So you
I got the easy one here. Joe Burrow there. Slim, shady, look-alike Joe Burrow at 56 here, according to PFF. Well, Joe Burrow's back. That offense has been clicking. Yes, they lost OC Bryce Callahan, but really the offense has been running through the head coach the entire time. Joe Burrow is back, healthy. T. Higgins is playing for a new contract. So is Jamar Chase. I think, you know, he's been a fantastic real-life quarterback. Every time he's healthy, he is now. Real-life quarterback play does translate to fantasy football sometimes, and in the case of Joe Burrow, that does translate. Yes. Brandon, what do you think?
I don't disagree that, you know, the top guy on the 50 to 100 list is good. Really bold choice of yours.
Groundbreaking
Very
stuff
bold.
Here.
Okay, but I have a better suggestion, I think. You know, if we're done talking about your guy here, Mr. Joey Burr.
Joey Burr.
So what you can't see on my screen right now is that there's like a projected points as well.
Yes.
Joe Burrow is projected 328 points, but there's another guy projected 325 points that is ranked way down here at 87. Now, do I like this guy? Hell no. Hell no. The guy actually he's probably cool. I don't know. Do I like this player and the team he plays for? Definitely not. Absolutely not. But you're talking about an offense run by the coach. This guy's offense is run by one of the best play callers, one of the best coaches ever is. Unfortunately, he's very, very good. And if I could pick up Jordan, like, who the hell's drafting Jordan Love? No one. No one.
Maybe.
Well, maybe me now, but I could get him in like this says so if we're going with the ranking if in a 10-person league, this is the end of the 8th round. I'm okay with picking at the end of the 8th round a quarterback. That would be very similar to who Joe Burrow is in the middle of the 5th round according to this ranking, right? So it's
yeah. I think you bring up a good point. Like, we're looking at late round QBs. You know, we've done a few mock drafts here in the past few weeks, and I don't know about you, but I've definitely realized the talent there is later in the round. It is absolutely wild. Talent on good offenses with good weapons in a passing league. And so I am heavily leaning towards waiting for a quarterback. And you're gonna see if you stick around a little bit longer, you're gonna see what I'm talking about when we get to these later round QBs.
I've always done that. Well, and mainly because I take my boy 8 here, and nobody ever drafts Kirk Cousins. Who the hell drafts Kirk Cousins? It's a ridiculous thing to do. But I drafted him so late, and I could fill the rest of my team. I could get guys that I wouldn't normally get if I took a quarterback, in round 3 to 6.
100%.
But instead I would take Kirk in like round 12, and people would go, "Oh yeah, Kirk's pretty good actually. He did good for me last year. He did, this is, everyone said that all the time. And Kirk's awesome. And I would also take Kirk this year. Look, he's not even on the page right now. He's somewhere.
He's not there yet.
He's not even here. So maybe
Like-
when we get there, he's one. But I'll leave that for when we get there.
Yeah, like when
Late
we look
quarterbacks
here,
are
whether you're in a 10-man league or a 12-man league, so you're looking at Jordan Love 10-man league, so that's 8.7, right? So he's 7th pick of the 8th round. That's absolutely wild.
And it says he's QB 11 off the board. That means this is a back in a 10-person league. That this is a backup quarterback if you go by these rankings, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
I'm not taking Jaden Daniels.
Anthony Richardson.
He could be good. I would be.
He could be good, but there's like a bigger risk there, and you're going almost 2 full rounds ahead of Jordan Love. There's a lot of wide receiver, running back depth there that could be extremely valuable.
Very.
So okay, I'm looking at that. I can't really give too many arguments against it. I think Matt LaFleur absolutely does a terrific job when it comes to play calling, but those offensive weapons, those wide receivers, you really don't have that alpha showing up there. Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Dobbs, Luke Musgrave at tight end, and then now running back, they drafted rookie, don't remember his name, and then they've got new Quadzilla and AJ Dillon. But Jordan Love set up for success. He was a monster in fantasy late in the season last year.
And to your point with Joe Burrow, if I were to choose between the two quarterbacks, I would definitely choose Joe Burrow. I think that he has a higher upside.
At least more of a significant difference between the two.
Yeah, I definitely would take Joe Burrow, but at his draft position, I wouldn't over Jordan Love's draft position, right? Obviously, anything can shake out, especially when we get down here. Guys are just choosing quarterbacks that they want, when they want. It's not like they're like, oh, shoot, Dak is here, or they're not like, oh, Anthony Richardson's here. I should take him because it says he's a higher ranking. I won't take J Love. You know what I mean? It's like, well, no, you're just gonna take Jordan Love when you feel like it, right? So,
yeah, if you're a Jordan Love truther, you're looking for Jordan Love, and in the 8th round, you're going for it. That's a late round QB and in a lot of people's minds.
Okay.
But let's move on. Let's get
to the 100 range.
Quarterbacks, yes, in that 100 plus ADP range here, Brandon. I'll let you start us off here.
Okay, let's look. All right. Oh, see, there's my boy Kirk Cousins. In the 13th round, they're suggesting. Come on. Am I going to do it?
13th round. You got to do it, man.
I'm not sure if I'm going to do it yet. Okay.
You already gave a little shout out.
I gave a shout out for sure. But even if I could take Stafford in the 14th.
Right?
What am I doing? Why would I take Purdy in the 9th? Why would I take Caleb Williams in the 10th?
Hey, you're making sound arguments right now.
So I'm looking here. I see Tua, Herbert, Cousins, possibly Rodgers too. I'm not sure about that fantasy-wise these days. But it's Stafford. Fantasy Stafford is nuts sometimes. So I'm tempted to go to the bottom of the list and go to Stafford. But he's never done me wrong. He's always led me to somewhere in the playoffs, not necessarily the finals. And I'm going with Kirk Cousins of the Atlanta Falcons.
Yes.
Kirk Cousins
I mean,
in the 13th. That's nice. His projected points are quite low, but again, the projected is whatever. I only use that when it benefits me, and it benefited me with Jordan Love, but it doesn't benefit me here, so it's a garbage stat. Kirk
garbage
Cousins,
stat, yeah.
garbage stat at QB 18. That's ridiculous. So I'm taking Kirk Cousins in the 13th, possibly as quarterback 1. I like that guy
as your QB1. Absolutely,
Yeah.
I think it works. You definitely go drop down in talent when you look at the wide receiver in Drake London compared to JJ. Kyle Pitts, in the right situation, he could be comparable to Hawk, right?
Absolutely.
And so Bijan Robinson, I think top tier or top talent and top physical readiness. He's going to be a threat out there without Arthur Smith. Remember, it was Arthur Smith's fault that Bijan Robinson didn't actually explode onto the fantasy scene. So so much talent over there in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins, who knows what's going to happen with Michael Penix? Maybe that plays a factor. Hopefully, no football drama, football politic drama later on in the season.
Yeah. Okay, who's your pick here? Because there's still some good guys.
Yeah, so something that's really driving my decision making is understanding those offensive teams, the high scoring teams. And so how do you do that? Well, you look first at historicals. And again, brought to you by PFF, we're looking at the teams last year, the offenses, and like the points for the team. So we're looking at offensive range. Guess what? Points for number 1. Well, we're the Dallas Cowboys. Dak's already gone. I wouldn't take him in this spot anyway. Not Dak Prescott sucks. Anyway, number 2, the Miami Dolphins.
Yes.
This guy is often similar to Kirk, left behind until the later rounds of the draft, and I get it. Tua, he is a personified roller coaster when it comes to football because he has these games that are just enormous, huge stats, and you've got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, both making a good amount of money. You've got Raheem Mostert, another year older. I think he takes a step back this year. Devon Achane is going to take a leap forward. You got Odell Beckham coming in there as the WR3, which is a fantastic third option. And Tua just got paid. Somehow like $212 million over 4 years. Yeah. He got paid. He's not the highest paid quarterback, but he's in the top range. He needs to now go out there and prove it. Especially there's a ton of guaranteed money in that deal too. So that is my pick. When we look at this list, I'm going at 111 Tua Tagovailoa in the 11th round.
Yeah.
That's my pick there.
It's not bad, it's 2 rounds from my Kirk Cousins pick, possibly. But 11 to 13 isn't that big. You're not getting this awesome running back in the 11th or in the 12th that I needed, that I can get that you can't because you took 2. That's not happening there, right? You're taking a lot of depth. So getting a guy this late as good as Tua is ridiculous. Tua has upside to be quarterback 5, essentially, right?
Right.
He could be a top 5 fantasy quarterback, which I bet you he was last year. I'd have to look at that.
He was definitely up there. But to say that he's a top 10 quarterback fantasy?
Oh, top 10 for sure. But
that's the thing, top 10, and he's drafted here QB 15.
He's drafted here QB 15 or ranked QB 15, which is what the hell is that? The guy, I would argue, because of the talent that you've listed and their offensive style, that he could be a top 5 fantasy quarterback. And I don't know from last year where he landed, but I'm betting it was in the top 5. I'm betting it was in the top 5. He was. There's no way.
I was blessed last year. I had Josh Allen and I picked up Tua late.
Nice.
So fantastic. But for me, I am going to be sticking to a strategy in this realm with where I'm picking the quarterback, because this range right now in that 11, let's say 10 to 12 range, this is that moment where I get in my head where I do all this research and I know the sleepers, I know the breakout candidates and all of that. I know the rookies that you want. I know the handcuffs, the top tier handcuffs, right? And I'm like, other people must know that too, right? They're all doing their research, so I gotta reach, and I often tend to reach in these rounds. I've already set most of my lineup out, ready to go. Yeah. Oh, everybody else has got a quarterback. I can wait a little bit longer, but no, secure the QB in round 11. I'm happy getting Tua in round 11.
Yeah, my option in past years was a Laviska Chenault. That didn't work out for me. A Marquez Callaway that did not work out for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't need
guys
those.
That sucked you in. No,
I don't
not you
need
specifically.
Those. You know,
100%. And so, going off historicals and looking forward, the Miami Dolphins look to be a top scoring team. I like this pick in round 11. And Brandon, let's move on to that next tier. Yeah, now this is going to be specifically for like 2 QB leagues, those 14-man teams, or if you really just want to wait in the quarterback. But I've got one right here, and it's interesting to me because, again, when we look at PFF's fantasies, they have the top 10 sleepers of 2024, and this quarterback is the first one listed, and that's Tennessee Titans quarterback Will Levis. Ooh. He presents a pretty intriguing fantasy option this year. He took over for the starting quarterback week 8 last year. He only missed 13 snaps over the last 3 weeks of the camp, and that was only in the last 3 weeks of the campaign. But he was QB 16 from week 8 to week 15. Okay, you're top half.
Yeah, but you don't, in a 10-man league, you don't want that.
No, you don't want that at all. But the Titans ran the ball at a top 10 rate over those 8 weeks. Of course, trying to help that rookie quarterback acclimate to the big leagues,
and
right?
You had Derrick Henry.
And you had Derrick Henry, of course. Now you switch out their coach for old OC from Cincinnati Bengals, Bryce Callahan. Well, Bryce Callahan loved to throw the ball. Loved to throw the ball over there in Cincinnati, and something tells me that he's going to take a good amount of that over to Tennessee. And you have DeAndre Hopkins over there. On the outside, of course, they signed Calvin Ridley to another big deal. Of course, they've got Treylon Burks, and he's got a good amount of talent out there. Tyler Boyd came as well from Cincinnati. So he's got a huge support system. He's got Tony Pollard in the backfield who can catch passes as well. Will Levis can run. He's a big guy who can run into contact, and not what you want with a quarterback, but he's not afraid to take a hit to gain those extra yards. Will Levis could be a sneaky play this late in draft boards.
Yeah, see, I'm looking at these. If you're done, and I can.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to just move on because you agree fully with me.
No one cares about Will Levis. We'll move on. Oh, you know what? Look at they've got a little Z's here. It's like little. It's hard to see on the screen. There's little Z's. I bet you that means like sleeper pick. We're sleeper pick. We're sleeping on them. Okay. So these quarterbacks are definitely quarterbacks that I might consider. Like maybe Will Levis, you take as your backup.
Right.
You're not waiting and being like, I'll just choose this guy in the 15th because no one's going to take him, and I'll fill my team with the other picks. These are generally backups. Now I'm seeing one, maybe two that I could make an argument that would be my starting quarterback. It's possible, okay? I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I likely wouldn't, but those are who I will put here. So I'm going to say that Baker Mayfield has a higher upside, that I wouldn't be upset with having Baker Mayfield as my starting quarterback come, let's say, maybe like week 2 after I chose Kirk and he got injured or something. Or maybe, no, I'm going to say week 1 because I'm saying starter. I'm not saying my backup as in Baker Mayfield. I'm saying week 1, if I had Baker Mayfield starting, I'd feel confident that I'm going to do all right in my quarterback position. You know?
So that tells me that he's at least QB 12 in your mind, right?
Well, I'm saying that I am okay depending on draft position. Obviously, like if I have other guys that I want to take here or there or something like that, I see the value in taking Baker Mayfield this late as my last pick of the draft. If that's the strategy I wanted to go with. I'm not saying that he is QB 12. I'm saying that if I chose him last, there's likely more than 12 quarterbacks gone already. And I'm happy with taking Baker Mayfield there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot going for him. Yeah. Mike Evans gets a new deal over there. Chris Godwin's always great. Rachaad White catching passes. We love those pass catching running backs.
Yeah.
They did lose their OC, Dave Canales, something like that, over to head coach the Carolina Panthers. So that could be a big drop in production. He was a huge part in the Baker Mayfield season, right? Like that's what Sam Darnold's going to have is a Baker Mayfield season.
Yeah, hopefully.
But okay, so, that Baker Mayfield. Hey, yeah. I don't mind. It's definitely better than Bryce Young.
Well, I'd like to honorable mention someone here. I'd also like to see they got 2 Pittsburgh quarterbacks here. I'd like to see who's last.
Back to back.
Like who's at number 33 here. You know what I mean? That didn't make one of the 32 starting quarterbacks, because someone on a team that's actually a starting quarterback got booted because there's 2 Pitt.
Gardner Minshew.
Is it Gardner Minshew? I haven't looked down there yet. That's who it is.
Yeah, if you go just down a couple, there's Gardner Minshew there at QB 33, and then right after is Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah. So I'd like to honorable mention, Derek Carr as QB 29.
What?
As QB 29.
Derek Carr's a bum. Passing league. Too many pass rushers out there. He folds.
You have a bias towards a guy who played. He doesn't even play for them anymore.
New Fader doesn't matter, except for Khalil Mack.
I dislike the Saints. And I'm saying honorable mention here. The only other person on this list, I'm not taking Daniel Jones.
You go against your values, and that means I have to go against mine? Ridiculous. No. Derek Carr? What a bum pick there at the end. That offense can't run anything without Sean Payton. Alvin Kamara is old. He's in a walking cane. All right? No more Michael Thomas. Same thing. He broke his back. And then you've got Chris Olive.
I'm not saying he's consistent. I'm saying he's boom or bust. Right? I could play, and I'd be fine with risking it if I felt like if Derek Carr plays on like a Monday or Sunday night or something like that, and I got torched on, in the morning and the afternoon slate of games, I get torched. I'm saying, and I've got Baker Mayfield. I might go, I'm putting in Derek Carr because that guy's going to sling it. And if it works this week, then I can win. Baker's going to get me that consistent something, 20 points or something like that, let's say. But Derek Carr could get me 35 somehow. And that's what I need to win. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying there. I'm not saying that about any other guy on this list. Maybe Will Levis, but that's your pick. I'm not saying that about Deshaun, Gino, Bryce, Daniel. I'm not saying that about any of these guys. We're leaving J.J. McCarthy out. Obviously, that guy's the hero.
Of course.
We're leaving him out of this conversation. So I would say just honorable mention Derek Carr, because I think by rankings, I would not have him ranked underneath both Pitt guys, underneath Bryce Young. I wouldn't have him this low at QB 29. That's what I'm saying, is that his value is not QB 29. I'm not saying that I would like to start this guy and have him be my only quarterback on the team. I'm saying that he doesn't deserve to be quarterback 29. And in the 150 plus QB range,
29.
No, but in the 150 plus range, he's an okay option. That's what we're talking about here. We're not discussing about anybody above.
Right. We're talking about 2 QB leagues. We're talking about 14-man leagues.
Yes.
We're looking
at.
Yes. Absolutely.
Superflex, Derek Carr.
Consistent 15-plus points. A lot of the time what you need in those Superflex leagues.
Yeah.
Super flex leagues.
But also, yeah, that's all I'll say. So in a super flex league, you want to take a quarterback early and then you want to wait. Because super flex quarterbacks go super early. You could take a Derek Carr late, and be fine with it. He'll still be there, possibly. By this ranking, he'll still be there in a super flex league.
Right. Well, let's see. Hopefully, in our new Superflex League, I don't have to choose Derek Carr.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Where are we doing that? I forgot we're doing a super flex league.
Family League.
Oh, in our
That's
family
right, yes.
league.
That's right. That's where we
Somehow
beat
the
down on
most
the other family
competitive
members.
league for me.
You too. Just kidding. Like emotionally and verbally but like for fantasy. But Brandon, that was PFF. BuiBros
Yes.
Football Podcast, QB rankings, especially for those late round QB drafts picks.
Yeah,
thank
we
you
all
so
know
much.
These guys are great. You know what I mean? We want to see who else is.
Exactly. But yes, that is it for today. This is going to be the rankings for quarterbacks in the late round QB draft strategy. If you're with us, thank you so much for watching. We do appreciate it. It lets us know you love talking football each and every week, each and every day, just like Brandon and I do. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, don't miss a video. Notification bell really helps us out. Brandon, why don't you send us off?
We're going to go a little slower today. We're going to go Skol Bolts. Skol Bolts.
Bolts.
Skol Bolts.
Skol Bolts.
Peace.